Alright, what's going on, guys? Today I am doing my top 5 favorite maps in Call of Duty history. I did a short a long time ago on my channel. Most of you haven't seen it, but there's no point in watching it now because I'm actually going to do a full-fledged video on it, because with a short I only get 59 seconds to talk about 5 maps. But in this, I'm actually going to talk in depth and can actually go on about what I think the map is good with, what it's bad with. Like, you know, some of my favorite maps, I see a problem, but I still have things that outweigh it greatly. Number 5, Drop. It is such a good balance of solo, co-op, Easter egg. I'm not an Easter egg guy. I've done 2 of the BO3 Easter eggs. I've done DE and GK, and DE was like, oh, like, that took like an hour and a half. Like, oh, that was okay. I'm just not a big Easter egg guy, but even DE was like okay to do. Like, I didn't feel like it was this long, strenuous task, because I've seen people do Revelations and Blood of the Dead, and I'm like, you cannot get me to do those. I will not do those. But with the DE4 bows, they're not that repetitive. I mean, they are because you do them over and over again, but they're not that repetitive because they don't take long to build. Like, the 3 Dragon Head, you'll pass by them anyway, and usually you can't even buy, like, especially with the first one, by the double tap area. You can't buy the next door, so you just sit next to the head and kill zombies and get points to open the next door. And then the upgrades do not take long at all. Especially the lightning bow. You can do the lightning bow in like 10 minutes, maybe a little longer on earlier rounds because you have to flip the rounds a few times to fill up the lanterns. But all of the upgrades by themselves, I should say, not all together, by themselves should take no more than like 20 minutes, unless you're getting like super unlucky or you're building the fire bow in co-op so you have lag with the circles. I get that. I love the BO3 Panzer. I just wish the death ray didn't exist, because then he would be hard to kill. He's fun because, you know, you have to think, oh shit, the Panzer's coming next round, and I'm camping at Rocket Pad Teleporter. Like, I have to go. Like, I have to go up top. Oh no, like, I'm in the Undercroft doing something. I have to go. Like I said, I'm not the biggest fan of BO3, but Drop did such a great job at balancing everything out. I love this setting too, because I'm a big fan of, like, the gloomier, darker, boring settings. Yet again, I understand the settings I like are boring. I love Call of the Dead setting. I like 5 setting. I like Kino's setting because they're just dark and run down, except for 5, it looked nice, but like, think about Kino, like how run down it looks. That's the vibe I want from zombies. DE, yes, it's brighter, yes, it's kind of clean, but it's like this dark, stony, iron castle. It's not like Shadows where it's overly bright and jazz music and just everything going on. It's just so bright, vibrant. I don't like that out of zombies. I want to put myself in a mindset in zombies where, like, oh god, it's a zombie apocalypse. Everything's run down and zombified. Like, I just like that. DE doesn't do that too well, but it does it well enough compared to the other BO3 maps that I really found, like, some enjoyment in the setting. I love the snowy background and the town that you're overlooking. It looks so nice. At number 4, I did just say this map because I like the setting, Call of the Dead. What an absolute gem. I have only a few gripes about this map. The biggest one is, like, you know how fun this map would be? The scavenger just either lasted longer, as in, like, did more damage so you can use one scavenger without trading out longer. You start doing trade outs at like 40 to 50 and it just falls off. Like at 40 it starts taking like 3 shots and you're like, oh my god, why? But I love this setting. Call of the Dead is the map that I learned that you're gonna get the shit beat out of you in zombies sometime. Because when I was a kid, I played a lot of Call of the Dead and I keep loading it up and I'm like, okay, I have to get to Juggernog. And then I'd be making my way down the ship as this little, like, 14-year-old me. The snow would come in. I can't see. I don't have enough points to keep buying the doors. George is coming. There's just so much going on. The early rounds on Call of the Dead, not easy. Like, getting to Jug is such a struggle, and it's so much fun. I do love George as the boss, especially since I talked about this, that you can get rid of the electrocution thing where he slams the ground and electrocutes you. I'll quickly go over that. If George electrocutes a zombie by slamming the ground, the zombie gets like the electrified effect around him. You get an insta-kill and knife the electric zombie. For the rest of the game, George can't shock you. That's awesome. I love that you can do that. Like I said, I love the setting. The scavenger's really fun, even though it's not the best. It's fun, I love it. But the big thing about Call of the Dead, it is the epitome of good zombie travel. Call of the Dead has that little, like, starting area where there's quick revive and sometimes Pack-a-Punch falls, but rather than that, it's a small area, you don't do much there. So the whole map is divided into 2 lanes. Your left lane, your right lane. That's awesome. You pick a way. And it's not like you're damned to one of those lanes, because you can either take the zip line on the left side to go to the right, and vice versa. And this is the area that you can go through, like that bottom of the ship over to the lighthouse area. Like, there's a connection there. There's a zipline connection to both of them to the 2 lanes. You have access to the whole map at all times. So overall, I just think Call of the Dead is just such a good map. I just wish the scavenger was better. That's literally it. At number 3, Mob of the Dead. Oh boy, what a setting. Alcatraz, what a setting. Brutus, what a boss, dude. He just adds such a vibe to the map. You know, you're running around on the low rounds. You got a B-23R and an MP5. You're filling up the Hellhound heads, and then you hear him spawn in. Ground starts shaking. You look around the corner, and there's Brutus sprinting at you, and you're like, oh shit, I gotta go. The Blundergat is fun. The Hell's Retriever / Hell's Redeemer, and by Blundergat, like, yes, add in the Acid Gat and the Vitriolic Withering, all those. All that is so much fun. It's so good. You can get the Blundergat for free by getting the Hell's Retriever. That's great, because I get annoyed when I have to rely on luck from the box to get the weapon. And I get annoyed when the weapon I want is a long process to get. Like, think about Zetsubo no Shima and the KT4 upgrade. Holy shit. You have to do a decent amount of stuff to build it, and then you got to do a lot to upgrade it. Watering that plant down in that tunnel is so annoying. But in this, you can either get lucky while hitting the box, or you can get it for free. Like I said, the setting is so cool. I'm a history major in college right now, so I really love these real life settings. Like 5, I love the Pentagon setting. My number 1 map actually is like my favorite part of history, like specifically. So that's why that setting always did a lot for me. But Alcatraz, such a nice setting. The Pack-a-Punch system, the only problem is, why do I have to go grab all the gas cans again? Why? I think the best way to fix that would be a gas can spawns at one of the 5 locations and a green light shoots up into the sky. So you're like, oh, there's a gas can down at the docks. Or, oh, I got lucky, the gas can spawned up top right next to the plane, basically. But I think the process of getting to building the plane is really fun. Like, it's not that hard. Doing the afterlife stuff is tedious, but the actual, like, process of getting the parts isn't that bad. Opening them up via afterlife is the tedious part, but it's not horrible. Like, you have to go through most of those parts anyway. If it was a little less tedious, I'd put Mob of the Dead higher, honestly, but either way, what a map, man. Number 2, and here is my hot take that I get slaughtered for. Moon Chronicles. So BO3 Moon. Dude, what a map. Moon is such a cool setting. You're literally on the moon. The wave gun is so damn cool because there's multiple ways to use it, and it's just such a cool wonder weapon. I do really like BO1 Moon, but oh my, does that map piss me off. The zero gravity in BO1 Moon is awful. The Cosmonaut is awful. You literally have to like glitch him out or trap him just to play the game. The excavators are annoying, but they're not that bad, honestly, especially since in BO1 Moon, you're in the spawn room anyway for the high round strategy. But in BO3 Moon, the Cosmonaut is fixed because you just dead wire him, and then he's dead. So you still have to look out for him. He can still yank your perks. He can still scare the shit out of you, but he insta-dies on any round. The zero gravity is fixed. I'm gonna try to remember right now. Okay, right now, I'm gonna insert a clip of BO1 anti-gravity because I have 2 or 3 clips. I might try to grab both of them of just where zero gravity is just so stupid. But it's fixed in BO3. The zero gravity doesn't launch you to the sky anymore because in BO1, you didn't jump. If you were running, you would randomly start floating into the sky. You didn't even jump. Like, you got higher altitude by just running and somehow tripping on a pebble and shooting up to the stars. So Moon Chronicles fixed all of the problems from BO1 Moon. So now we have this map that is kind of easy, kind of hard, because the excavators make you kind of leave your strategy. Also, you don't have dog rounds, but it fixed all its problems. It's such a cool setting. The Wonder Weapon is my favorite Wonder Weapon in Call of Duty history. It is such a cool Wonder Weapon because you have the zap guns and the wave gun, and when you tandem them, you can fly through the rounds. It's so nice. At number 1, BO2 Origins. Yet again, the same things I said about DE. So much fun in solo. So much fun in co-op. The only bad part that I will recognize about Origins is the mud. I understand that it's not a good idea to have stamina be necessary, and then when you get stamina, you basically just move normal speed anyway because of the mud. I get the mud is bad, but it is my favorite setting because I am a big World War I geek. I really like Europe and World War I. That's exactly what the setting is. But yet again, I was a big Origins fan before all that, but you know, now that I got older, this setting does more for me. The stabs are so much fun. You're wielding this metal staff with elemental shards in it. I think the map layout is not bad because you go from the spawn room, you have 2 lanes that converge into 1. Then you go into no man's lane, you have 2 lanes that converge back into 1. Like each lane just flows apart and back, apart and back. The BO2 Panzer I talked about this in my top 5 bosses. Amazing! The BO2 Panzer has created the single most infamous and fun round in Call of Duty history. Everybody knows Panzer comes on round 8 because you have to plan for him, you have to be ready for him. I understand that building the stabs can be repetitive, and I have a kind of a skewed look on this because I mostly play solo because I don't like sitting down and playing an entire game in one go. I like pausing, going to take a break, and come back. I also like solo because I control the tempo. If I want to stay in this room till round 4, I stay in this room till round 4. If I want to keep going, I can keep going. So I only build the ice staff when I play Origins, and I can do it so quick because the ice staff's really easy. It does not take much time to build. You just wait for it to snow and you got all the parts. The upgrade's not that bad. But I think Origins did such a good thing with how challenging it was because the learning curve is steep on that map. But once you get it, you start getting a good look at everything there is to do in Zombies because Origins follows a formula that we see over and over and over again. I also love the red digs because you get access to all the perks. We didn't have customs back in BO2, the custom maps with 30 perks. So it was so cool that you got all the perks, but you didn't get them for free. You had to work for them. I remember being a 13-year-old kid. I had all 16 of those red dig spots memorized. And it took forever to get to that point where I had optimized routes. I knew where I wanted to look. I knew where I wanted to guess it'd be next, so I knew what direction to go. There was a steep learning curve, but once I got it, it was so fun to do. But anyway, that is my top 5 maps of all time. You can leave your top 5 in the comment section below. You can respectfully disagree with any of my opinions because I understand, especially with the Moon Chronicles. People don't really like that opinion. I get it. It's my opinion. It's my taste in maps. But anyways, thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please consider leaving a like on the video and subscribing. I'd really appreciate the support, and I'll catch you in the next one.